Hello. Yeah, let's go. Microphone work. I accidentally had it unplugged because I don't know. Bug. 4 reasons. How are you doing today, Dox3? Let me announce it. Dox3, did you send something into feedback? Vibing? I'm vibing as well. I've got the jump going on in the background. I actually really like this DMB stuff he's doing. Yeah, I'm hoping he does more of this. Soon? Okay. Let's see. Who else has... Ah, we have more. Start in like chance to come in. Where's Anmon? I don't. I messaged him, but I don't think. I think he has lunch. But... I was gonna try to get Turbix into the stream, but he ended up being sick, which is very big sad. Hi Zandy! Yeah, kind of sad, but next time, hopefully. Then I saw you send something. Wow. Dox3, did you send yet? Sandy said. I don't know if this hockey guy is in here. He sent this. He meant this a while earlier when I got the form. But I can always go back to the video. Guess with that, let's start. Let's go. Face is fucked up. Well, you got some time before I get around to you.
You were right there, and even through my struggle.
Chat, let me know if the volume's good.
When I was alone, when I felt hurt, you came into my life and I will show you what you love me.
I think the kick was
and I'll give you my best. I promise you that I will never through the hard times, you were right there, and even through my struggle, you stand by me. When I was alone, when I felt hurt, you came into my life and I will show you what you love me, you believe in me, and I'll give you my best. I promise you that I will never
This is really nice. extended as well. Yeah. This is quite cool. I like all the stuff going on melodically. It quite a solid track, I would say. I think my main feedback is gonna be like in a little bit the way it's produced. So I think the biggest problem I hear is not enough compression. So a lot of the leads sound fine, and I think it's probably because they're quite layered. If I go listen to this here, I can tell you have a lot of layers going here, and that's probably got some OTT on it and some stuff. But I think a lot of the other elements feel not very powerful, which tells me that it's probably an issue with not compressing enough. Especially in the bass. If you listen to the bass here, it really doesn't sound very compressed. You can hear really the like it's very plucky, but it's not loud enough. It doesn't have the same push, so it's making everything feel kind of weak and like not super powerful. All right, Fortunox. Add it to the queue. I think production-wise, that's my main feedback. I think the melody as well is close to being really good. I really like the A part. I'm not sure that I like the do. I think that you could try some different stuff and maybe find a groovier rhythm if you want to keep the notes the same. You might even be able to just remove one or two of the notes and like change the rhythm up a bit. I think that might be even better. I mean, realistically with Future Bounce, you do kind of want to take those B parts and make them different from like the A part significantly, not just in notes, but like in structure and sound design. But if you want to do it like this, that's a recommendation. I really like this breakdown. Like I really like how this vocal gets the space to kind of go off and big stuff. Oh, experimental Dockster ID? Let's go. I just started Vignes, so if you sent it in, it's probably still in the list. I'm looking forward to this Dockster ID. And let me add all of these ones in bold. Dockster, you lied to me. You didn't send it in yet. All a lie. Ah, solo. Nice. Yours is next, so it's perfect. Perfect timing. But yeah, I like this Haiku. I think if you take a look at the stuff I was talking about with the compression, I think you can compress a lot of elements in here to make them more glued and make them more powerful. I think you should probably just look up on YouTube like how to do compression if you're struggling with it and go from there. But yeah, take a look at that. Okay, solo. Dude, I like this cover. Cover's super clean. Ooh. I think there's about 4 or 5 tracks in front of you for Fortunox, so it'll probably take like 20 or so minutes to go through all of them. 20 or 30? Let's see. But Okay, this is very cool. Very cool. I think I have a couple main points of feedback. The first one I think is like the biggest and most important one that if you take anything away from, this bass doesn't really work for what you're doing. Like the wub wub I get, like I get this wum, wum, but either you need to distort crap out of the sound, like this needs a lot of saturation. For this style, I kind of understand what you're going for, this very deep sound, but because it's going to be just the bass, you really need to make sure that bass is like powerful and has enough harmonics that it can actually carry that kind of space, that it can actually inhabit the amount of space you're giving it, and yeah, just live on its own. So I think it is very cool. I would either change the bass sound or saturate it, or actually both. I think even if you change the bass sound, just make sure that you find something that's really saturated and can hold up this type of stuff. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be like, 8 camel crushers on top of one another, but this. My other point of feedback, I think some of your transitions are a little, you could do a little more. Like, I think use the vocals for like this transition at the end, for example. It kind of just ends. I think even for here, like you have this big sweep and you're like, oh, something's happening, and then it just kind of like the little melody arp thing here is good. But I think if you have like a you know what I mean? Like I obviously can't sing. I'm playing the right note, but I'm thinking of like, some like crazy Dune vocal that's just super reverbed. I think as well, speaking of reverb, in your breakdown, this should be even more washed out. I think the lead should be really wide and washed out, because here it kind of already gives away a little too much, or by the time you get to the drop, this lead kind of feels a bit boring. And if you wash it out more, it kind of makes it a little more ambiguous and satisfying when it comes in like fully dry. And my mic is okay. It's in the event that I it looks like I'm talking and my microphone isn't working, it's because my mic cable is funny. That was most of my. I just really, I love the breaks you have going on this. I like the drop as well, but I'm not a big fan of this deep style, so it doesn't do as much for me as these like cinematic breaks. I mean, just like that sound is super. I hope that was helpful. Not too rambly. Reverb automation. Yes, I agree. Reverb automations are great. I think in general, automations are what separate, okay producers from really good producers. And it can also be what makes your track go from like good to great. Like really, it really makes a difference because you have the chance to add a ton of depth without adding more stuff. You're just manipulating the stuff you already have, which is going to sound more organic and more natural. And it's just going to be more engaging overall than if you just keep adding more things. You also get closer to a lot of like real life sounds. Like the reason why you can have like a 3-instrument track that like, does hundreds of millions of streams is because it's organic and natural, and like, and a dude singing over it and it sounds awesome. And never really gets boring is because there's just so much information in like real instruments, and you can get close to a lot of that sound with automation. I encourage y'all to do. I say that I also need to do more automation. Moving on, music by Richie. I feedbacked something earlier today, I think. Maybe it's yesterday. I can't remember, but cool. Again. Okay, that's actually really cool. I really like this style. I think I know what this was really missing. So my first thoughts is once you get to the drop, it feels a little underwhelming. Yeah, the mix is overall quite good. It's kind of soft and not talking much over the music. Yeah, I try not to because I think Liquid House. I think it's more retro future, but it is quite liquidy. I see where you're getting at, Gordon Knock. Okay, my main feedback is once you get to this drop, like the brakes, honestly, you don't have to change a thing. The build as well is really good. My main issue is once you get to the drop, things aren't groovy enough, so the drop doesn't really have enough power. And I think my main, the main culprit here is the melody here. Don't let it play out like this. Don't do this. You have to let it cut with all the other stuff and really make sure that everything is hitting on this groove. I want to pull up. Yeah, let me see if this. I don't know if this is the best reference because I haven't heard this track in a little bit. But Nusby is, I think, a really great reference for all the retro future stuff. And he's really good at keeping the groove super tight. This is not the best. There's another Nusby track that's a really good reference. It's like super groovy. Now I can't think. No. It's a different one. I'm sure I could look for it and find it eventually, but I won't bother. But definitely check some Nusby stuff. I think they'll have the melody cut more and just really focus on making sure that the melody is groovy once it comes in here, because that will that'll make a big difference. It'll really make, and you actually do this kind of what I was imagining with this vocal here. This is da 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 da. That is much more dancey than having a doo doo doo. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really nice and it works super well for the break. It's one of the reasons why the break feels so nice is because you're not really focused so much on dancing. It's just kind of vibes. But once you get to this drop, you really do want it to groove a lot. So I would say make sure that you're focusing on getting the groove right. Because overall, all the sounds here are great. I think maybe it could be a bit brighter. Overall, then again, your hats are also relative to the synths are actually not super bright, so it all fits together really well. But you could maybe make the mix a bit brighter, but sort of a taste thing. Overall, it's quite nice. Yeah. Wipes. Send me an angel.
You're stuck inside my head. At nights when I'm alone, I'm laying in my bed. I know that you are gone. Send me an angel, 'cause I only see your ghost. Send me an angel, the one that I want the most. Send me an angel. Send me an angel.
Hey, Anna.
Send me an angel.
That FL merch? Sorry, this is maybe not the thing you want to hear when I finish your track, but like that, I just saw that FL Studio merch. They're always kitted out. Yeah, Fortinox, I had the same thoughts. So he brings up that the drums aren't hitting very hard. I think melodically everything here is fine. I think the vocal feels a bit unpolished as it is. The mix as well. I don't know how this was recorded, so I don't know. To be honest, this is just my. I don't know if this is a Spice vocal or if this is you singing, but the way this is recorded makes the vocal feel very thin. Like it just really doesn't have a lot of body to it. But if this is you singing, you know, I'm not expecting you to have access to like really good microphones that are make that easier. Yeah, I think the drums are really noticeably. Hey, no problem, Richie. Happy to help. I think the main issues is definitely with the drums, because if you don't have hard hitting drums, everything else is kind of I don't know, you never get to really gauge how hard something is because the drums are like the front line almost of the hour. I think some of these sounds could be a little more compressed. Not with multiband compression, just like volume compression wise. I think this is the thing that at some point I want to make a video about, which is like multiband compression is really good. It's very useful, but sometimes it can also mess sounds up and make them sound really thin and weak. So in this case, I'm really talking specifically about just like taking a regular compressor and just like making sure everything is. I think as well it could be a bit brighter, but like some of these growls feel a bit weird volume wise. Like the overall, I actually think everything's pretty glued. I think really I want to play with my Chrome EQ. So really, what I'm playing around with, I really wish that you guys could see the EQ I have going on, make this so much better. But the synths are pretty. I really like the melodics, like the melody and everything that's going on. The basses are nice. There's one or two growls that feel a bit weird, but I think that's just because they're poking out in the mix. But like EQ wise, you're really kind of missing mids. So between like 1.5K and 3K, I think you could bring out more of the leads, which is a really like, I always joke with my producer friends, it's like the uh, emotional frequencies is between like 2 and 3K. You do have to be careful with them because it can sometimes make things overly muddy. Stuff can feel kind of play capture. Yeah, I don't want to display my entire screen though. It becomes kind of a pain when I want to alt tab and stuff. I really just need a second monitor. Whatever. I think also you can bring back to the feedback. I think you can bring up the high end here, get them a little more. Bring out all the pretty stuff you have here. And when I say high end, really, I'm talking about like around 10K. 10K is another one of those really special frequencies that like on almost any sound you're working with, if you bring up the 10K, it's just going to add more clarity. Like there's very few sounds where adding 10K is going to make it sound bad. Now there's some sounds where it's like very piercing at 10K. I would say for like 80 to 90% of the time, if you want to add more clarity, you can look at 10K frequency range or like area and just like take a bell curve and bring it up a couple dB. You know, maybe do some multi-band do there to compress that as well. Ha! What is this? On some of these though, you're kind of calling me out. One Piece in Overwatch is like my bread and my butter. White noise trick does work. W cover art. Yeah, stripes. I hope that. Of course, you always have the craziest arts. I love it. All right, let's play it. Drop bases are AI generated. Okay, does that mean it generated the sounds or like that it generated the MIDI? I guess maybe we'll hear it when we. Oh, we're in for a treat. Ooh. Ooh. Guys, I'm quitting music. I think the AIs are gonna steal my job. Call this a job yet? It's just nope, not happening. Yeah, it is listed as country. Very country. It sounds like country though. I think a lot of the elements definitely reminiscent of the Wild West. Bye. I think, dude, why don't you make things loud? Like every time that you send in a submission, it's generally overly quiet, from what I remember. Well, clearly. Um. Yeah, it just I think make things louder. That's like number one advice is just make things use a limiter. I don't know what DAW you're using, but your DAW 100% has a limiter. Just use it, and if it's not at least touching 0 dB, just crank it up by 4 or 5 dB until your like ears are bleeding. All the sounds themselves are very compressed, but like all the drums and stuff, for example, could all be brought up so that it's all matching. Sound better. Yeah, it's always a tough balance with loudness and compression. Oh yeah, the mix is. It's not that the mix is quiet. It's just like overall not good. It's like not brought to the right level. If we like boost this a bunch, it sounds pretty. Your sub is crazy loud though. 3 soft clippers and 3 multi-band clippers. Oh, why do you have 3? No, you had it right the first time with Kara. Yeah, see, what next is what I mean. It's not really the mix is not quiet. It's just the sounds are not loud enough. As well, I think your sub is crazy fat, but I think you could increase a lot of the like high end, like make it a bit brighter. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Like the sounds are just nuts. Like. That's so dirty. So dirty. Awesome. I don't really have anything else to. Wish you could sound design like that. Yeah, me too. I really want to learn how to do some of the Zim dubstep stuff. There's specifically like this one sound that he uses in a lot of his like leads, like kind of noisy, but it has this like vocally texture to it. I just really want to learn how to do it. I also want to try doing gun basses at some point because I feel like that'd be fun. Afterglow remix versus Ontario. Ah.
Hold on, in your hold on, bring me forward. Coach, bring me forward.
I love these type of melodies already. Just that like super soft break style stuff is super.
Control is smaller, skin is over. Already knows all the fun clothes. Already
like that everyone's still using the da-na-na-na sample in their Future Bounce tracks. By the way, I wanted to ask Sandy, like, it says Afterglow Remix ID versus Ontario. I know the Ontario part is Dirty Palms, but what's the Afterglow remix? Is that, I'm guessing that's yours? I don't know enough of the original tracks to know what's from where. But, like, everything here is just super clean. Like, everything's really dope. Baseline super. Collab with Mickey? Let's go! The mission, wait, let me try. Okay, now I got it, Doc. Yeah, Zandy. Unfortunately, I really have no idea what to say for feedback. Doc, so you did not send a goofy Joel moment? Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Okay. It's gonna be very cool. Everyone's naming an Afterglow ID? Okay. Goofy. I kind of want to listen to this as well because it says Joel Dockstream. Recording. Woo. Go. Alrighty. The deep.
The water's spilling over, I'm still standing in the pool, the one that you told me to dive in and swim over to you. The waves are tumbling like I see with endless views. I think I'm drowning again and weary, but I've learned to breathe in the deep, in a place you'll never be. On the ocean floor I keep all my treasured memories. So I hope you're still waiting, losing your patience. But I've learned to breathe in deep, in a place you'll never be. On the ocean floor I keep all my treasured memories. So I hope you're still waiting, losing your patience. Hope you're still waiting.
Nice transition.
The water's spilling over, I'm still standing in the pool, the one that you told me to dive in and swim over to you. The waves are tumbling like I see with endless views. I think I'm drowning again and all I care for all I care, all I care for all I care, all I care for all I care, all I care for all I care. But I've learned to breathe in deep, in a place you'll never be. On the ocean floor I keep all my treasured memories. So I hope you're still waiting, losing your patience. Hope you're still waiting.
This is very cool. I really like overall what you have here. These vocals, by the way, who did these vocals? I don't want to believe that these are like Splice vocals or something because they're really, really good. The vocals are nuts. There's like all the ad libs as well. Really, really sells the breaks. Sampled vocals, but they're insane. Yeah, that's wow. That is wild. Ah, okay, bot. Okay, nice. That sort of makes sense, but still, super nice. Super nice. I think they're well incorporated as well. How's these? I think you guys said you're working hard on this, so I am gonna be pretty thorough with my feedback. I think, and I know you said you were doing all the sound design, so I think they aimed at you, unfortunately. A lot of the sounds are very thin. Specifically the leads. The basses are mostly fine sound wise. Although I think the basses are quite muddy. Like I would say for your basses, let me start with the basses first. If we go through and listen to this. This to me is like be harsh. Okay, that's sounds good to me. I would say sound good, sir. I would say with the basses, specifically look at like the 200 to 400 range. Yeah, I'll get to the leads. I think I have some good. But yeah, specifically look at like 200 to 400 range to get a lot of that like mud and like sort of bloated feel out, because right now they feel a bit just kind of heavy. I can't tell if this is. Yeah, it really is this like 200 area for me. That's like trying to get this label ready. Yeah, okay, cool. Then I will be. I think the vocal could be a bit louder. My general advice to the vocals, well, the vocal needs to be significantly brighter, especially because the vocal is so pretty and it's fairly well recorded. It sounds like you really can bring it out more. I would say like try adding like 3 or 4 dB of volume to the vocal, because you really do want it to be in front and kind of in your face. Like the fact that here the chords are significantly louder than the vocal is kind of a problem, especially because the chords are quite wide. You want to really make sure the vocal is in front and loud and in your face. So there's that. I think drum wise, I think the kick is fine. I don't love it, but it's okay. I think if you look at some of the kicks from SSE, I think they will fit this style better. Something which is not soft completely, but like a softer kick, which has like a different kind of transient. Be good here. I think change the clap for sure. I think you don't even need to change it. At least layer it though, and find something which is a little more like I don't know how to say this, but like less tune sounding, like more of a harder clap. It doesn't need to be like a snare, but I think it needs to be a little less soft, because this clap sounds soft. Let me get to the leads. So I think the leads specifically feel very thin. I'm going to mess around with the EQ bit, and I think this will either explode in my face, mean nothing, or it might be helpful. We're just illustrating where specifically like the EQ, the lead is missing sauce. So mainly what I was just messing around with there is a type of clap. You could try an 808 clap. This is really where, unfortunately, knowledge of drums is not too good. Sorry, my brain is getting a bit scrambled because I keep jumping from thing to thing. Let me talk about the clap. I think clap wise, my knowledge of drums isn't so good that I can tell you exactly which kind of clap. This is where I would say like take a look at like future bounce packs and just like go through and try different claps out. And just kind of have an idea of like reference your tracks and see what drums you have and then listen to them next to other tracks. Like if I go onto any Dirty Palm track and like put it next to yours, which is unfair. Like if I go to Dirty Palm IDs, for example, and I pull up any of these like IDs, like obviously they're not finished, but find like this drum set is much harder than you see how it's just like different kind of drums. So do that with tracks that you really like and you think you want to get your stuff to sound like, and just see like, okay, what kind of clap are they using, and I'd use that to figure out what clap you have on here. The leads, keep getting distracted, super important, but I keep getting distracted by all the other little things that I can go off on. So with the leads, I would say one, make sure you're layering, and this is a tip we had in one in like episode 2. Yeah, they are very different tracks. Of course, I think that's true, but everything is getting sidechained anyways, so everything should be getting sidechained. If you're not sidechaining your reverb, something is wrong. For this type of like future bound stuff, you want to make sure your reverb is sidechained. But with the leads, going back to this is something I think Enmon said when he first came on, is like the feedback session. This is like the second feedback stream. It was like, make sure that your leads are not a ton of layers. Like yes, layer, but aim for somewhere between 5 and like 8 layers, and make sure that they're all very different sounds. You want to make sure that each layer is doing something very different from the other layer, because it's very easy to get trapped in this idea that you need to layer and then put 20 of the same type of saw lead, and then it's like, oh, well, why isn't it good? I added 20 sounds. Like, well, actually they start interfering with each other more than they're contributing once you surpass a certain number of sounds, especially as you start adding sounds that sound similar on top of each other. So I would say really here it's all in like the layering, because mix wise, yeah, you can boost the mids on these sounds, you can boost the highs, but I think go back to whatever sense you're using and really go through and like I don't know how many layers you have going on here, but like if you have a lot of layers, find the 5 best layers and cut everything else out. Or if you don't have a lot of layers, add some and make sure that they're different sounds. It's going to make a big difference. Obviously, if you want to, I mean, I use a ton of presets. There's a lot of layers. All right, then yeah, I would say find the 5 best ones and just, not really. Okay, conflicting information here. There is about 5 layers. All right, then I would just mess with those 5 layers and make sure that they're all different. Really play around with trying different layers and different presets until you find something that works. The sound here is okay. I think as well, like it's also a bit of a volume difference where the bass, especially with this sort of very boomy sound because of the prominence of this 200 to 400 range, really drowning out a lot of this lead. But I can hear as well that the lead is actually being cut quite high. It is on my laptop. I think the leads are being cut high. This is a general piece of advice, but I think it applies to a lot of people making future bounds. Don't cut your stuff too high. When you cut, and when I say too high, yes and no, Afkar. You make Afkar is saying that it doesn't matter how many layers you have if you just mix them well. I think there's some truth to that. Like, you know, for example, someone who has really good mixes and really good sounds is like Brooks, has a ton of layers. but he's super particular and it requires a lot of energy to mix that type of sound. And I'm cutting some highs. But I think Brooks has really great sound design, but I don't think he's a perfect example. Like he really, if you look at some of his master classes, he really cuts away, and each layer is doing a very specific job in the mix. Like he's not just adding 40 layers and leaving them all. It's a big question. It's kind of hard for me to say what exactly you should do on a whole track, but if I'm gonna list it out, let me make a quick list. A minute, and I'll. I realize this must be like the most boring stream because sometimes it'll just like pause for 2 minutes as I write things down, but what I gotta do in order to be useful, I guess. Okay, I've boiled it down to like I think 4 things that if you change these things, it'll be in a lot better of a state. Awesome. Fortinox as well. Like after you go through this feedback, you can send it to me again. Like you can even just DM me and I'll take a listen to it again and I can give you more feedback. But my main 4 things are, the easiest one is going to be just change around the clap. Well, you kind of already have most of it. Have the video as well? Okay. Change the lead layers. So play around with different sounds, see what sounds good. Play around with presets from different banks. I don't know if you're using Serum or Silent or whatever, but there's a ton of banks. Try as well using presets from different genres, because that can make a big difference. Not good at using presets. Oh, okay. It's definitely something to try then. I think presets are like a gateway to really creative sound design, which sounds opposite what it should be, but a lot of times what community were you in? Because you might be able to just bring that over to the stuff you're doing now. Yeah, messing around with the lead layers is one thing. I would say, yeah, make the presets less boomy. I think when you do that as well, as community 20, I see. Yeah, okay, it is quite different. You might be able to reuse some of that sound, and it might sound pretty unique. After you make the basses less boomy, I would also make sure to saturate them a bit. And maybe you'll need to bring it down a bit in volume, but it may end up changing a lot once you mess around with the leads and like also remove a lot of the. You'll end up cutting low end and it'll sound a lot more quiet afterwards. I think also just like, yeah, make the vocal louder and brighter. That will help a lot. Huh. Then I would never make it unless I made all my sounds. This is an interesting thing that I've personally always found quite weird with production community, where you'll have these really big divide of people who think that presets are the devil's fruit, and if you use the presets then you're corrupting your music and you'll never succeed. And then there's people who think that you should only ever use presets because why would you spend any time doing anything else? I think good for you for learning how to make all your sounds. Like, I think it's a really dope skill. I mean, I make quite a lot of presets and stuff for myself, and I think it helps with the tracks because sometimes I can really get specific on what sound I want. awesome. But I think presets, I think learning how to use presets can be really creative. And sometimes you're going to get to a sound that, then yeah, are we holding up the line? Kind of, but I'm holding up the line because there's a lot to talk about here, and like, I think a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about will be useful for everybody, watching anyway. Yeah, for sure. They're valuable. Yeah, it is definitely a skill to use other sounds. I think really what it comes down to, and I think this is what a lot of artists who use a lot of presets will say, is you're not just slotting in a preset. You are using it as a jumping off point and then tweaking it until it actually fits your track. It does require a bit of practice. But once you get it, it's really nice to be able to skip a lot of the initial legwork of making sounds. I am now actually going to move on though, because otherwise we'll indeed be here forever. I hope Dogstree's still here. Dogstree. Joel time. Yeah, I hope all of that is helpful. I realize it might be a bit ranty, but yeah, Dogstree's here. That's a bit of my nature. Kind of ping pong from a lot of different things. Sometimes I start a sentence and then I end with something completely different. I switch gears. Okay, that being said, let's actually. Those drums. I think they're drums. Goofy Yacht title and no Goofy Yacht cover, 0 out of 10. Feedback wise, I think realistically it's the sound. I think you could replace this lead sound with a vocal. It would be super hard because the basses and like the chords underneath are really dope. It's just the lead is, yeah, very, very goofy. Very pitchy. Although the lead sound itself is not too bad. I think it's better in the. And the automation of the boom. Yeah, it's very weird. But I like it. Experimental. Adi. Let's see what we got here. A bit of distortion. Just a bit, Dogstree. Gosh. This is really cool. I think the melody is a bit confusing though. It feels like there's a lot going on and it's kind of hard to get a pulse on the main I guess like theme. Yeah, it just feels kind of hard to pin down or like memorize any of this because it's just moving around. a lot. It feels like it's wiggling, like it's going, oh, okay, now we're over here. Now we're over here. And it's like, oh, wait, what's the main one that I'm supposed to come back to? Which I struggle with this a lot. Less so recently, I want to say tentatively. I think I've gotten a lot better at this part, like making melodies, but it is something I struggled with for a really long time, was just not being able to pin down like a motif. But the sounds are quite good. I think some of this could use a bit more compression. I think your bass could have a bit more saturation as well. A little bit of FabFilter Saturn Double One would be quite good here. Overall, I like this. Once you guys nail the melody, it'll be really sick. Have anything else today? Might be left. Green Dragon. We have another off guard. I'll listen. 100. I don't know what this means. 100. Ah, wait. I could have read this. I think you have 100 followers. I like that you heard your name and you just spawned in the chat. You're like, oh, it's me. This app. Drop is cool as well. I'll tell you my feedback when I. Ooh, key change? He switched genre. What? This is really cool. I'm glad you released this. Really cool. I will say, I wish there's two main things I really wish you'd done to this. One, mainly the lead processing. There's two things specifically with the lead processing out. It's like really, I feel like could have been done a lot better. It's like, why is everything so mono, bro? Everything is super down the middle. Use that stereo, my guy. Push things out to the side, especially the leads. Like, I think your bass processing on this is incredible. It's super nice, really crispy. But if you did the leads to take up space in the side, it would leave the middle to be open for the crunchy bass as well. It'd be super dope. I think the lead as well could be brighter. I think the whole track could be brighter. Give it a little. Yeah, you could make it a bit brighter. It's not too bad though. Like, I think overall the EQ profile is good. It's just the stereo. If things were wide in this track, it'd be super nice. But the idea is super cool, and I love this shift up to change key and BPM is super cool. I kind of like that it comes back to the original BPM as well. It does really make it more of a journey. Like, you kind of go in this weird underground psychedelic land. Who is this from? I see Fixed Kick. Review. Ah, it's Afkara. See. I don't think Afkara sent this in, guys. I think it's a Dirty Palm. I don't remember how this sounded before, but already this sounds pretty solid. But you say they don't know I'm talking about Lizzie. I got on my pocket, now they think that I'm dizzy. Turn off the auto-tune. Let's see how you really rap. Cause you see that I'm loading, I'm doing my thing, coming out with clothing. The woman in my dreams, she lives in a palace. I see all the time, man, they call me a gallus. But you say they don't know I'm talking about Lizzie. I got on my pocket, now they think that I'm dizzy. The auto-tune. Cause you see that I'm loading, I'm doing my thing, coming out. But you say they don't know I'm talking about Lizzie. You say that I'm loading, I'm doing my thing, coming out. But you say they don't know I'm talking about Lizzie. I can confirm the kick is fixed. This sounds really good. This sounds really hard. I'm trying to remember what my issues were with it were the last time, but regardless, whatever you've done to it, sounds really good. This sounds really, the mix sounds really full now. The kick hits hard as well. I think it fits really well with the sub that you have going on. Yeah, this is just dope. I think the breaks sound really good as well. I noticed already in the break that like everything sounds balanced. Your vocal is like a good volume, feels full. You could maybe make it a bit louder, but a bit more mono beside the lead. All right, yeah, that works. Ah, the stereo image, I see. The stereo image now sounds really good. Yeah, the stereo image sounds really solid now. Overall, just good job. What more can I say than good job? it's kind of exciting for me to have to say that like I gave someone feedback and like now I get to hear what it sounds like after the feedback. Now, I think most of this is really your work because your track. I'm just like kind of pointing out this. But it's cool. I really like what you've done with it. I hope you finish the arrangement. Or if you have a finished arrangement that you like send it to me. I would genuinely listen to the full arrangement. That is the last thing on the bucket list. Giant me. Aha. Well, that was a fun stream again. Yeah, I hope that was useful. Definitely got into some nuanced advice for 101. Anymore. Next week, it'll hopefully be on schedule again. It won't be so late. I realized, like, even for me, I'm like, oh, okay. There's certain people that I normally see in the streams that I did. Probably because timing. Camera grain is real. My camera has horrible grain, especially because there's no sunlight out. So it's really bad. It is really bad. The 720p camera, the terrible exposure. Every time I turn my camera on in a Discord call, I get roasted. So they just look like a yellow, overexposed blob. But it was 14 euros, so you know. Plain. With that, ciao everybody. And yeah, see you guys.